Hi curious people, I've actually waited a year to make this video because I wanted to use it more than twice and over a year, 2 years actually, before I give you a full rundown on the thorns, roses, more thorns, and walk you through all the pros and cons about GrandeLASH MD Lash Serum. So first things first, does it actually work? And good news, yes it does. Unfortunately, there's lots of negatives and side effects and warnings that I have to tell you about to make you decide, like, do you really want to start using this? It is unfortunately addictive, but I do have 3 secrets or hacks to help you make the most of things. So keep watching if you want to hear those secrets. So it's an award-winning lash enhancing serum infused with a blend of vitamins, peptides, and amino acids to promote the appearance of naturally longer, thicker looking lashes in 4 to 6 weeks only. So in about a month, you can see results. And you can see full improvement in 3 months. Before we talk about my results and like my experiment, let's talk about some basic eyelash facts. So first off, your eyelashes are about 90 to 160 lashes per eye on just the upper. And they grow in like rows of 5. So if you see the zoom in, you can actually see that they're not like perfectly orderly rows, of course, but you can see your hair follicles. There are multiple rows to them. The function of eyelashes is not just to look pretty and to attract mates. It actually has a more basic function, which is to protect your eyes, of course. And so I have noticed that there are some people, like certain ethnicities, that have much fuller, longer lashes because that was beneficial for them genetically living in that location for like thousands of years. And so you do see some people are just genetically blessed to have longer, fuller, thicker lashes naturally. And I am not one of those ethnicities. This latest time that I first started to use GrandeLASH MD, my lashes were 4 millimeters long, and I measured with a caliper. And so like I'm not just like guessing using a regular ruler. I actually use calipers that go to 2 significant digits. So first of all, my lashes are stick straight. They're really short. So this last time that I started using the lash serum, it started at 4 millimeters long. And so like that's so sad. And I've seen like bottom lashes being sold that's longer than that. So that's just like what I'm working with. And of course, other people who use this lash serum like have better lashes to begin with. But I'm just gonna tell you, from me starting at 4, I'm now at about 9 or 10, depending on like which exact lash you're measuring. And so like that's significant results, and I can definitely see, and it makes such a big impact when I curl my lashes, like you can see. I have to use a heated lash curler or nothing happens. Okay. Yeah, that looks way better. So normally I wear eyeliner and I make sure to like really make my eyes look bigger than they are because I'm struggling with like a lot for my eyes to make them look better. For this last instance, I didn't really measure like every month, every week. And so in summary, these are like the 2 times I have actual numbers for. So here's one journey. So this is the most recent one. So right now I've used this lash serum for 6 months. And starting out, I had 4 millimeters long lashes. And now, as you can see, they like actually exist. And they are about 9 or 10 millimeters. So over double of what I started with. And that's incredible, right? So we're talking about a gain of 4 or 5 millimeters in length. And for me, that's double of what I had. And it's just, it makes me feel like I actually have lashes. And if I didn't use this serum, then I would have like nothing, and I would have nothing to curl. And so it's just like really hard. You have to put in that time to like put on falsies if you just want something to show up. And of course, another issue is like I don't have monolids, I have double eyelids, but the orbital fat here, it does like hood it, and so it makes the lashes harder to show up. So this other time that I measured like a lot and more frequently, I started with 6.3 millimeters. So again, I started in January and I used it for 6 months up to June. For the first 7 weeks, I got to 6.5 millimeters. So we're talking like such a small gain. You're wondering if like it grew at all, right? And so it was like, the claim on the package is false. Like if you only wait 4 to 6 weeks, you might not see results at all, especially if you're not measuring to make sure like, oh, okay, it's actually growing, because you might feel like nothing is happening. But things are happening, so you just have to be really patient with this product, which, you know, people in this current age is not known to be. Okay, so at 8.5 weeks, I finally got to 7 millimeters and on the left eye and 8 millimeters on the right eye. See, my right eye is always like the prettier eye, and it grows like better lashes for some reason, and it must be because I'm right-sided dominant. At 27 weeks, we're talking 6 months finally, it is finally 8.2 millimeters and 8.4 millimeters. And so they got to about the same length at about 8 or 8.5 millimeters. So actually the second time that I used the lash serum, like right now, they're actually longer than when I used it previously. And so of course, your results may vary even on like the same person, and so it just depends on like how you're measuring and like which exact lash you're measuring. Okay, so how do I apply? And you want to wait until it's nighttime and you've just finished washing your face, you just got out of the shower maybe, and there's nothing on your face, and you're going to open this up and apply it. But there's a specific method. So you want to scrape off all the excess from the brush and make it seem like there's nothing on the brush, because you want to apply the tiniest bit possible. This serum is extremely liquidy like water, so you don't want any excess or like applying way too much in one like spot, because that leads us to all of the side effects that happen. So applying too much is also a waste for, you know, like the longevity of this product, and your body can only absorb this product so much. It's like so much serum can actually work. Basically like vitamins, just because you overload on vitamins, it just means it'll just come out in your pee. And so there's no point in applying too much if your body can't actually use it. So the instructions say to dab it on like eyeliner and like draw a line on the very top of where your lashes start. But how I do it is I go to like the middle of all my lashes and then I wiggle the brush and to try to get to like all the hair follicles there instead of just like the top hairs. They say to only apply to the upper lash and don't do anything on the bottom, because it will spread there anyways, and so there's no point in applying to the bottom. You have to use it every single day to see results, and if you are not going to remember, you're going to be forgetful, here's a tip: you can put it right next to all of your night routine stuff so you never forget, like your moisturizer, because you're just cleaned your face and you have to put on some moisturizer, or you have a face serum and you do it right before you do your face serum or something like that, or next to your eye cream, you know, just so you don't forget. It's like right in front of your face, you see it and you are like, oh, I gotta do that. One alternative, as you can tell from this mascara, is this company actually makes an eyeliner now, so you can just buy the eyeliner and apply that during the day, and then at night when you like wash your face, then you're just done. You don't have to remember to use it. because you're gonna remember to put on eyeliner. So it takes a really long time to see any results, and we're talking like minimum 2 months before you see any kind of like length start to show. And so that is one of the biggest negatives, is that it takes so long. But once you get it going, then you just have to maintain your long lashes, and then you don't have to use it every day. And here's a secret. You know how on this box it says it's a 4-week trial size mini to see if you love the product, and so you buy the full size for like $36, $50 something, $100 something dollars. It lasts you way more than 4 weeks, especially if you use it the way I do, which is like you scrape the brush off and you barely use any. And that's gonna get you more than enough results anyways, because it takes time for your body to grow your lashes. And it's not just like you're not using enough product. I'm willing to bet you on that. It says 4 weeks, but it actually lasts you 6 months. And I've done this twice now, and this second time I did this, I was able to just like maintain my lashes towards the end, like month number 5 and month number 6, and I used it like every other day, and it got me closer to 7 months of use. And so it just depends on how, you know, heavy-handed you are with applying this. It is unfortunately addictive, like I said in my intro. So what that means is if you stop using this, then you won't be growing long lashes anymore. So whatever long lashes you do have, eventually they'll fall out, and then they'll be replaced by your sad short lashes that you naturally grew before you started using this. And so, for example, let's say this pack, right, it costs $25 at Ulta with no discount. And you would need 2 of these, so you would be spending $50 for the whole year to have long lashes. You could probably get away with buying the full size one, or like the small size, travel size, whatever they call it, and that's gonna last you the full year, and it will be less than $50. This one is 4 weeks size for 0.7 millimeters. If you have any idea how much 1 millimeter of water is, that's about 20 drops of water. If you have like a dropper bottle like I do from The Ordinary, you'll see this is only like a few drops, like 10 drops. And that's basically how much product you have inside this big vial. It's mostly empty space. And so that's what you're paying for. It's like fancy water. Unfortunately, with that, it means if people can hack this packaging, then they can make fakes. And there's lots of these fakes out there. So make sure you just buy from a reputable place that don't have any chance of fakes, like Ulta, Sephora. I would stay away from eBay and Amazon. I don't know about those reseller sites like Mercury though. So another secret, that is Grand Brow and Grand Lash has exactly the same ingredient list in exactly the same order, meaning the same concentration. So is it the same product in 2 different kinds of packaging for a cheaper price to buy Grand Brow? You guys decide. So as you can see, I bought Grand Brow already, and that's what I'm gonna use next once I finish this next mini, and I'll tell you guys how long that lasted me. But I have a feeling it's gonna give me the same results and for much less money, because they also often sell Grand Brow on sale but never the lash serum, and so it's win-win. Although I do want to say, on the back of the instructions on the Grand Brow, it says do not use near your eyes because blah blah blah. They actually don't list the reason, but if it's exactly the same stuff with just a slightly different brush, then why are we not, you know? I don't know. You let me know what you think. Okay, so let's start talking about those side effects. And the first thing is, if you've never used this product and you are just starting, please listen to this part. You're going to have horrible allergic inflamed eyes if you use too much. And so what that means is, the first time I ever used this, I woke up with the most swollen eyes. Like, I've been crying for 2 days. I got stung by bees. I had an allergic reaction. You know, it is an allergic reaction. And so you got to be really careful. And if you're starting for the first time, you want to put like 2 dots and then just leave it at that. And don't even do your whole eyelash line. Just do like the outer little bit and see how your body reacts, see how your eyes get. And if you are okay the next day, then consider doing like 3 dots. And so you don't want to overdo it on the first day because this is extremely strong stuff. So for example, Rapid Lash, that company makes the same product with the same active ingredient, but that never gave me allergic eyes because I have a feeling this one is way more concentrated, and that's why it's giving so many people amazing results. And so be careful. This doesn't actually grow you more individual lashes. It just makes them look thicker. And so it makes it seem like you have more lashes, but you don't actually. You just have the same number you've always had. Except for this next side effect is you'll randomly start growing hairs where there weren't hairs before. And what that means is, for me, on the upper eyelid part, but in the outer corner, I started growing some more hairs there. And so that was really weird because like you can never curl those lashes that are growing in this weird spot and it looks funny. And so it's like, should I keep them and let them keep growing or should I not? So this other time I started growing a lash in my waterline and it was so weird. I had to pluck it out and it hurt so bad. But like I had to take it out because it just like looks so funny, like growing in this waterline. And I think that happened on both eyes. So like one on this side and one on this side. And it was bizarre. And then I let these go. But sometimes on the lower lash, you'll get one growing like in a funny place, like slightly off of the main lash line. And it's like, okay, that's fine. As long as you don't look too funky, right? So these last 3 negatives, they are so bad. So the first one is losing orbital fat. So your eyes here have something called orbital fat. And if you're like Asian or you have extremely hooded eyes, then you have a lot of orbital fat. And that's what, makes it look hooded. Unfortunately, when you use this GrandeLASH, the process of making you longer lashes will take this fat to make them. And so it will cause your fat here to go away. And it's not so bad on some people. I would say like me, it like still looks fine. But on some other people, their eyes started looking really sunken in and like hollowed out. And so they just looked really strange and like sickly and unhealthy. And I think like the dark eye circles that you have here from the lack of sleep and other things also started looking way worse. And so that might be a deal breaker for you if there's too much orbital fat loss. I've even heard of one instance where a woman with monolid eyes went from mono to double because of how much fat she lost in this area. And she hated it because that's not what she signed up for, and it made her feel like she wasn't herself anymore, and she was so upset. So I can see that. And then someone else I know, she's like much older, and so her metabolism is way slower, and she said that it still hasn't gotten better, and she still has this like really sunken, hollowed eye look from using this product. And so depending on how old you are, what kind of ethnicity you are, what kind of genetics you have, this orbital fat loss is a big deal, and it could be a deal breaker for you. Good news is, depending on how healthy you are, your orbital fat tends to come back once you stop using this. My friend who was like really much older, she still hasn't recovered. And so it just depends on your body and if that's like an acceptable risk. And of course, you don't know how it will be until you use this. So it's kind of like gambling. Next one is dark spots. Yes, it happens, and yes, it's actually very common. So for me, the first time I've ever used GrandeLASH, I got this really big dark spot here in the inner corner of my right eye, and it is so dark that most like shimmery eyeshadow will still show through because it's on the inner corner, and that's where I do like the lighter stuff and not like the dark. And so it's just like really obvious unless I use heavy duty concealer or something. Thankfully it doesn't bother me, so I just let it go, and it is like just part of my face now. But I know it can be a big deal for some other people who have much paler complexions, and or there's multiple spots, or you know, like it's just a big splotch of dark pigment. And why this happens, it's you're using this product and it makes you extremely photosensitive, so you're gonna have to be more careful to like wear sunglasses or put on sunscreen around your eyelids to make sure that skin is protected from the sun getting basically a freckle on your eyelid. Last one, in my opinion, is the worst side effect, is styes. So I've heard some people get like styes so frequently from using this that it's just they cannot deal with it. And some other people get such big styes that it literally looks disfiguring, and they also can't deal with it. Personally, for me, I just get really tiny ones on the inner part of the waterline, the part that like touches my eyeball. And if you don't know what a stye is, you can go Google it or ask a dermatologist, but it's basically clogged ducts that like help clean your eyes in that area. And so it causes you to get more clogged ducts, and then you have a stye, and then you have to wait like several days or weeks for it to clear, and that could be too long for you to like alter your eye routine and to try to get these like long lashes, right? Especially if you're getting them like over and over. For me, I keep my eyes clean most of the time. I remember to take off my eye makeup every day, and they only happen like every so often, so it's not a big deal for me. If I get a tiny one, then I just let it like go away, and then it's back to normal. So let's talk about one more secret, and that is, how does it work? So there's two kinds of lash serums on the market right now, as far as I can tell. There's the GrandeLASH kind, and then there's the amino acid peptide based kind, like the Ordinary. The GrandeLASH type, like Babe Lash and New Lash and all these other Rodent and Fields type ones, those have this special ingredient called isopropyl chlorprostonate, and what that is a synthetic prostaglandin analog. So synthetic means is man-made, and prostaglandin is a hormone-like molecule that is made by your cells to combat inflammation and wound healing. So prostaglandins are a type of lipids, so meaning it's like a fatty molecule. It is made at sites of damage or infection, and is involved with dealing with this wound healing and injury. They control things like inflammation, blood flow, and the formation of blood clots, and it has a big role in the induction of labor, which is part of the reason why they call this type of molecule hormone-like. So a real hormone has to be made by a special gland in your body to be classified as a hormone, but nevertheless, there's all of these molecules that are messengers and cause your body to react in a certain way. So do not use this if you're pregnant or considering to be pregnant. According to most sources, it is safe during nursing, so that's a good thing. You can like pick this back up when you have given birth. Isopropyl chlorprostonate is a synthetic prostaglandin analog that actually first started with glaucoma patients, and then they noticed that these patients were growing these long, luscious eyelashes, and then they realized and like narrowed it down to this compound, and then they started putting it in lash serums and marketing towards desperate women like me. And then I of course fell for it. But here's the bad news. It is controversial because the FDA has like no regulation on this, and so as you can tell with like the high number of side effects and there's warnings, there's just a lot that we don't know about using prostaglandins and using it to grow, enhance eyelashes. And it might be causing more things to happen that we don't know. And so this is just a word of warning. It is quite misunderstood because like people just use these products without knowing that there's all these side effects, and basically you're using a medicine or a drug and like you don't know the full consequences that could happen. So consider yourself warned, do more research, look into the ingredients of things that you use, and always be ingredient aware. So these are all the negatives for GrandeLASH, and these are the positives. And I hope you guys take everything into consideration and you let me know if I missed something, if I missed a side effect, or if you didn't experience one of these horrible side effects and you think it's absolutely worth it. But just drop me a comment down below and let me know what your lash journey was. And in summary, I would just keep using this, but there are some bad things that happen, and unfortunately there's not a lot of regulation for the active ingredient. So I do hope that they put some regulation in, and we're just seeing more and more products like this, but it's not regulated. So I don't know what's a good one and what's a bad one, and which one has horrible side effects and which one has like manageable side effects. Hi everyone, welcome to the new experiment. I've actually had to wait a year to make this video, but it's finally here, and I've used it multiple times because I really wanted to show you all the pros and cons regarding the GrandeLASH MD Lash Serum. GrandeLASH MD Lash Eyelash Serum to grow your lashes really long. There's this GrandeLASH type that has this special active ingredient called isopropyl